The greatest musical instrument of a generation was not a gleaming guitar or an electronic keyboard. For poor Black and Latino kids growing up in the 70s and 80s, their musical tool was simply their voice. In the neighborhoods of Brooklyn and the Bronx, where instruments were hard to come by, creativity became the ultimate resource. A new form of percussion arose from necessity and pure, unfiltered genius, beatboxing. We rightly honor the legendary architects, Doug E. Fresh, whose style defined the term, and Biz Markie, the clown prince of sound. But who was the man that took this raw street art and forced the mainstream to listen? Who possessed the internal drum machine, the heavy bass on that microphone, that made it a global phenomenon? This is the story of a man whose heart, full of rhythm and soul, was ultimately too big for the world he conquered. It is the tragic legacy of Darren "Buffy" Robinson, the hip-hop pioneer who paid the ultimate price for his fame. The man the world would come to know as Buffy was born Darren Robinson on June 10, 1967, in Marion, South Carolina. Like so many families seeking opportunity, his parents moved north, settling in Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn in the early days of hip-hop was a concrete incubator of culture, a neighborhood where every corner had a rhythm waiting to be discovered. It was here, on the very block where he lived, that Buffy met his future partners in rhyme and destiny, Prince Marky D and Kool Ski. Their early dreams, perhaps predictably for young men in that era, revolved around the field, not the stage. They dreamed of playing in the NFL, of gridiron glory. But destiny often whispers in a different language, and for these three, it spoke through the nascent boomboxes and the raw, evolving sounds of the street. They were there, right at the dawn of hip-hop, watching the DJs scratch and the rappers freestyle on the corners. As they realized the NFL wasn't in the cards, their focus shifted entirely to the burgeoning scene of beats and rhymes. Buffy was, even then, the wild one, the fun one, the natural comedian of the group. He was always joking, always doing something to make those around him laugh. But he held a secret weapon, an innate talent that was about to redefine the art form. The boys would gather at Buffy's house because he had the crucial DJ equipment. While Buffy mixed and scratched the records, Prince Marky D and Kool Ski would hone their rap skills. As their skills sharpened, the neighborhood started to buzz. They began winning local talent shows and throwing legendary basement parties at Prince Marky D's house. It was during these sessions that they first truly discovered Buffy's revolutionary talent, beatboxing. What made Darren "Buffy" Robinson different was the power he commanded. While others like Doug E. Fresh, rightfully crowned the originator, focused on intricate percussion, Buffy brought the heavy bass on that microphone. It was a rich, chest-rattling sound that transformed vocal percussion from a novel trick into the bedrock of a whole song. His sound blew their minds. They originally formed a 5-member group called the Hypnotized Five, but quickly streamlined to the trio known as the Disco Three after the other two failed to show up for practice. The defining moment came when they heard about the Tin Pan Apple After Dark dance and rap contest, held at the famed Disco Fever in the Bronx. They arrived with no intention of performing but decided to enter at the very last minute. Here they were, the Disco Three, in the heart of the competition, with no music ready to back them up. The situation seemed lost, but in that moment of silence, Buffy stepped forward. He didn't need a sampler or a drum machine. The sound that erupted from his mouth shocked the crowd. It was a full, resonant bassline, a deep sonic structure that filled the club and made the floor shake. As Prince Marky D and Kool began freestyling over the raw, organic beat created by Darren "Buffy" Robinson, the crowd went crazy. Everyone present witnessed history in the making, and the performance later became the classic track, Stick M. They won first place, which was a record deal. Though they had hoped to win second place for the DJ equipment, the record deal instantly solidified them as rising hip-hop pioneers. Buffy had stolen the show. Their first single, Reality, was influenced by the popular conscious rap of the time, mirroring Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five's The Message. But it failed to make any noise. Their managers, Charles Stetler and Linda West, recognized they needed a hit and sought help from the reigning king of rap at the time, Kurtis Blow. More importantly, the managers noted that every promoter booking the group would always ask for the Fat Boys. The group was renamed the Fat Boys, a branding decision driven by their love for food and the huge bills they kept running up. On May 29, 1984, they released their self-titled debut album. With hits like Fat Boys, Jailhouse Rap, and Can You Feel It, the album was certified gold. But it was the video and the track, Stick M, the very song born from Buffy's triumphant moment at Disco Fever, that made Darren "Buffy" Robinson a true superstar and a global figure. With the release of Stick M, which quickly became the first a cappella hip-hop song and showcased Buffy's distinct rhythmic power, Darren "Buffy" Robinson became a sensation. He was no longer just a group member, he was the sonic engine, the beatboxing legend whose booming sound made him a superstar and, perhaps surprisingly, a sex symbol to women who adored his charismatic energy. Suddenly, everybody wanted a piece of the Fat Boys. The industry quickly validated their rise. They secured an endorsement deal with Pepsi and embarked on the groundbreaking Fresh Fest tour alongside giants like Run DMC and Kurtis Blow. Interestingly, Russell Simmons, who organized the tour, initially doubted their inclusion, believing they weren't on the same level. But the Fat Boys proved him wrong, becoming an essential, crowd-pleasing act. This tour cemented them as vital hip-hop pioneers in a rapidly changing landscape. Their mainstream appeal was undeniable. They became only the second rap act to be featured on MTV, following Run DMC's Rock Box. They were everywhere, even scoring commercials for products like Swatch watches. On June 1, 1985, they released their second album, The Fat Boys Are Back, which, carried by singles like the title track and Pump It Up, swiftly earned gold certification. People genuinely loved the Fat Boys and simply couldn't get enough of their infectious, fun-loving personas. The most significant validation came from Hollywood. Their magnetic energy caught the attention of writers for the film Crush Groove. While the movie primarily focused on Russell Simmons and Run DMC, the addition of the Fat Boys brought essential comedy and lightheartedness to the screen. Tracks like All You Can Eat highlighted their signature blend of humor and hip-hop. Their presence in Crush Groove wasn't just a cameo, it marked them as cultural icons whose appeal stretched beyond the music charts. Their success on screen led to an unprecedented deal. Warner Brothers offered them a 3-picture movie deal. In 1987, they starred in Disorderlies, making them the first hip-hop act to headline their own feature film. The film remains a straight classic for many fans, though it struggled at the box office, leading Warner Brothers to sever the relationship and cancel the remaining pictures. Despite the film's setback, their music career hit a new apex. Simultaneously with the movie release, they dropped their fourth album, Crush In. This album delivered their biggest commercial hit, Wipeout, a collaboration with the Beach Boys. The single soared to number 2 on the UK Top 100, hit number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100, and peaked at number 10 on the R&B charts. Crush In gave the Fat Boys their first platinum album. This period represented the undisputed peak. Darren "Buffy" Robinson had achieved everything an artist could dream of: critical acclaim, commercial success, and cultural penetration into film and television. He had not only popularized beatboxing but had successfully monetized it, cementing his legacy as a genuine cultural force. The trio's ability to blend humor and hardcore beats made them global superstars, ensuring that the rhythm laid down by their beatboxing legend would forever echo in the archives of hip-hop history. The transition from the fun, light-hearted hip-hop that the Fat Boys embodied to the darker, more aggressive tones of gangsta rap proved challenging for the trio. The industry was changing, and their playful image was starting to be perceived by some fans as sellouts, especially with pop collaborations like Wipeout and The Twist. Suddenly, the music that had brought them fame was viewed as soft in comparison to the hardcore lyrics taking over the genre. Behind the scenes, the pressure was mounting. Tensions flared over money and the direction of the group. Their managers, who had strategically renamed them the Fat Boys, ironically fought to maintain that image, even urging the group to eat more to keep the weight on. The contradiction was stark: they were being paid to embody a lifestyle that was slowly killing them. The deepest wound, however, was the rupture of their friendship. Prince Marky wanted the group to stop making pop music and return to their hip-hop roots. The conflict escalated until, tragically, Buffy and Kool were convinced by management to vote Prince Marky out of the group. It was a heartbreaking moment of betrayal driven by the business of entertainment. Prince Marky later recounted the painful fallout, stating that when he left the group, he was left dead broke. In a defining moment of profound loyalty and deep sadness, Darren "Buffy" Robinson quietly stepped in. He appeared with buckets of KFC chicken and handed his former partner $30,000 in cash to hold him down. This singular image, the beatboxing legend carrying the symbolic food that defined their controversial image, along with a desperate gesture of financial support, speaks volumes about the internal conflict and the enduring bond between the artists, even when the business tried to tear them apart. As the group fractured, Buffy began to face mounting personal crises. In 1993, he was charged with sexually abusing a minor, corrupting the morals of a minor, and conspiracy. While the girls allegedly lied about their ages, Buffy was ultimately fined $5,000 and given 2 years probation for his role, which involved holding the camera during the filming of a video. The scandal forced him out of the public eye. Darren "Buffy" Robinson retreated from the limelight, focusing on raising his son with rapper Queen Pen and desperately trying to get his health under control for a potential reunion album. Prince Marky was thriving as a powerhouse producer, working with stars like Mariah Carey and Mary J. Blige. The plan was to slim down and come back strong. However, the reality of his situation was a crushing defeat. Being home and battling depression led to increased eating, and the lack of the constant motion and energy of performing caused his weight to spiral completely out of control. This hip-hop pioneer, who could control complex sounds with perfect precision, found himself utterly unable to control his own body. His weight ballooned to a shocking 760 pounds. Buffy had traded his athleticism and health for a comedic brand, and now, the brand was claiming its price. The physical and emotional burden was simply too much for even a beatboxing legend to carry alone. He had the rhythm of the world in his mouth, but the weight of the world on his soul. The story of Darren "Buffy" Robinson is more than a celebrity tragedy, it is a profound reflection of the cultural and economic pressures placed upon the black artist in America. As a hip-hop pioneer, Buffy was a potent symbol of ultimate resourcefulness. He proved that talent could emerge from economic scarcity, turning the simple human voice into a powerful, viable instrument. He essentially licensed the sound of the streets to the world, making the beatbox a foundation of pop culture, validated by his appearances on MTV and in iconic films like Crush Groove. Yet, the fame that defined him also destroyed him. The image of the Fat Boys, a brand centered on their physical size, became an inescapable burden. The American entertainment machine often demands that artists maintain a marketable gimmick, and in this case, the gimmick was fundamentally detrimental to the artist's health. The group's shift towards more accessible pop tracks like Wipeout brought global success, pushing them onto the UK charts, but it simultaneously triggered a backlash at home, where authenticity was prized above all else. The descent of the beatboxing legend into legal trouble and, most tragically, severe morbid obesity, serves as a harsh social critique. It highlights the deep vulnerability of performers in an industry that fetishizes image without offering adequate support for the mental and physical health required to sustain it. Buffy's final years, plagued by a weight nearing 760 pounds, quietly mirrored a broader crisis within the community, where poor diet and the stress of systemic pressures often manifest in devastating health outcomes. Though he did not receive the massive, mournful headlines of other fallen stars, the echo of Buffy's contribution is permanent. His signature bass beat remains the ghost in the machine of modern beatboxing, a rhythmic reminder of the raw, innovative energy of early hip-hop. He ensured that the voice of the underprivileged youth would be heard globally, and for that, Darren "Buffy" Robinson's tragic tale is forever woven into the complicated fabric of the American dream. The end of the story for Darren "Buffy" Robinson came quietly, starkly contrasting the loud, powerful bass he commanded. On December 10, 1995, at the age of just 28, while battling the flu and practicing music at home, Buffy suffered a fatal heart attack. The legendary rhythm maker who once made millions dance collapsed in a silent moment, his immense body finally giving up after years of immense pressure and neglect. His brother's desperate attempts to revive him with mouth-to-mouth resuscitation were tragically unsuccessful. It was a death that felt profoundly unfair, a quiet tragedy overshadowed by the continuing noise of a genre he helped create. He was a genuine hip-hop pioneer, a man who took the sounds of his home and projected them onto a global stage, yet he passed away virtually unnoticed by the very mainstream culture that had celebrated him in films like Crush Groove. The irony is chilling, the industry demanded he stay the Fat Boys, a brand that literally contributed to his demise. The enduring legacy of Buffy is not just the commercial success of the Fat Boys, but the sheer inventiveness he demonstrated. He embodied the ultimate creative spirit of black youth, making powerful, impactful music from nothing but breath and heart. He cemented the art of beatboxing forever, ensuring its place as a cornerstone of hip-hop. Every beatboxer who follows, from Rosal to today's champions, owes a profound debt to the man who made the bass boom. he remains the quintessential beatboxing legend. The story of Darren "Buffy" Robinson is a heavy one, urging us to look beyond the laughs and the hit records, and to consider the cost of the image. What would his life, and his career, have been if he had been encouraged to prioritize his health over his brand? We honor his memory by keeping his rhythm alive. If you grew up with the sounds of Buffy, if you ever watched Disorderlies or remember the moment Stick M hit the airwaves, you felt the change he brought. We read every comment. If the story of this hip-hop pioneer reminds you of a time when music felt raw and true, or if you have a favorite memory of the Fat Boys from their platinum album era, share it below. Let us celebrate the life of Darren "Buffy" Robinson by remembering the unforgettable beat he brought to the world. And don't forget to subscribe to ensure the stories of these cultural heroes live on.